But I guess there's none that stick out as, like, pressing that I'm like, I sit there. I don't sit up at night thinking about any of these things.
Right.
Mostly because I work at night, but...
That is true. You don't actually sit up at night. You sit up during daytime hours.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're looking for an actual review of the game, either you're looking for a score, you're looking for a yes, a no, an up, a down, some kind of actual verdict at the end of the day, and a breakdown of, like, all the aspects of the game. I've known some people that ended up, dealing with folks that were not good. I can tell you that. But it's not something, yeah, we already know a few of them. Anyway, the point is, I'm gonna start, but I know I'm gonna end up setting you up for a joke, and I just already know the joke you're gonna make when I start. So I'm just
predicting. I'll make a different one.
I'm predicting that. Okay, you ready for this? Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Hey Alex, looks like we just turned 100.
Yeah, it's funny because I thought I had only turned 20 like a decade ago.
Yeah. Okay, you didn't make the joke I thought you were gonna make. I thought you were gonna say, well, you look 100, Nathan.
Yeah, it came to mind, but I figured you would have guessed already.
I knew it! It stays in. Anyway,
Too easy.
Too easy. Hey everybody, welcome to our 100th episode where we have almost started to predict what we will each say.
I mean, I feel like that goes back to having, 8 years of podcasting together?
Yeah, we had the 300 episode Delve arc, which was like our training video. And then this is like our pro league piece.
Which is funny because I think Delve did better, at least in the podcasting area.
In the podcasting, yes, but not necessarily in the video and the other formats.
Side note,
sure.
Hey, if anybody listening to this full-length episode, because this is only in the full-length episode that you can get on a podcast or full-length videos, if anyone that does listen to this as a podcast, let us know. Send us an email, drop us a line somewhere you want. Just be like, hey, I listened to this as a podcast. I'm curious to know because by all metrics that I can see, our podcasting is like a whole audience of 2.
Yeah, it's not a very large faction, and then we'll have videos though. Some of those get thousands of views, and so it's a little odd for us because I guess we kind of live over here in video form for the most part. But if you do listen to us in that way, please let us know. Anyway. Back to our 100th episode, big landmark. Yes. We're subverting your expectations today because I think
That's what I did with the joke at the beginning.
Yeah, you did. We've already started by subverting a subversion at the beginning. Good. I think that loops us back around to just doing what people expected.
Yes.
Anyway, I figured at 100 episodes we got to clarify a few things, mostly about what we're not going to do. And so...
What we haven't done.
What we haven't done, and the reasons why we haven't done it. That's what we're going to do on the show. We're going to talk about some things that we don't typically talk about, and why we don't typically talk about it.
Hooray!
Welcome to the 100.
100.
That's right. So let's jump into it. So, number 1, we will not discuss unsolved mysteries. Now, I mean, unsolved mysteries is something fun for us to discuss as a general topic, but I mean, not in the show.
Yeah, and this pertains to gaming more so than, like, crazy internet mysteries and unsolved mysteries of, like, true crime and stuff. We generally don't talk about that stuff anyways.
Although we don't talk about that either. But yes, gaming mysteries. This is actually something that I had brought to you as possibly something to talk about for our 100th episode. And then you made a really prescient comment about that. Do you remember what you said?
Vaguely. My memory is terrible. ADHD is deadly. But yeah, you had said we could talk about some gaming mysteries, and I countered that with, well, we definitely could talk about some gaming mysteries, but I feel like the kinds of people who are searching for gaming mysteries, or specific gaming mysteries, and if you're here and you clicked on this because you like gaming mysteries, sorry.
Right.
But generally the kind of people who want to listen to something about a game of mystery don't just kind of want to go over general information about it that is just surface level. They tend to want, or at least I know I want, like deep information, well-researched stuff.
Right.
Either adding something to the mystery itself, adding more information to it, kind of coming up with a theory or a conclusion to it, even if it's wrong. I mean, look at game theory.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but remember, game theory's never been wrong.
Nessa Sands. 100%. Anyway.
Skibbity toilet.
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, so as much as I enjoy, like, Easter egg videos and gaming mysteries and even some other, like, not, like, true crime, but I like internet mystery stuff. I listen to a ton of that stuff at work all the time. I think it's really fascinating, but I get annoyed if I listen to stuff, for instance, and I go, I've heard about this topic before, about 16 times.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is all information I already know. There's nothing new here. Why am I listening to this video?
Right, and I don't know how much more we could add considering how many people actually do look into stuff about these gaming mysteries. I had started looking up, like, what some famous gaming mysteries are, and of course there's some good ones, like the 5 bug jars in Skyrim. They're just there.
Sure.
My biggest contribution to that seems like it might have been just cut content that they didn't get.
Yeah, and I've listened to something about that one too, where the biggest idea is that, yeah, it probably was just content that was cut.
Yeah.
And never got fleshed out because they went, oh, well, we don't have the time or money to finish this whole thing we wanted to do, because Bethesda didn't.
Right.
So,
they
cut content. Another big gaming mystery is the whole thing in GTA with Mount Chiliad, which I don't know a whole lot about, like, that I can regurgitate, but...
Yeah, but there's plenty of people that have talked endlessly about Mount Chiliad and the mystery surrounding it. I think it deals with aliens, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And then there's Bigfoot and...
Oh, Bigfoot, yeah.
All the other stuff there.
There were quite a few about, like, Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, I see people talking about, like, the mysterious treasure chest you couldn't get to in the Mad Monster Mansion. But I also remember that there were, like, the ice keys and, like, the closed doors in the desert and stuff, which, again, I kind of chalk up to probably ran out of time, were going to be part of the game, but they just never got around to it, which is not particularly interesting as a topic to talk about, where it's like, I don't know, shrug, I don't know what happened, what...
Yeah, and I feel like if we were the kind of channel and people in podcasts that were to do tons of research and theory crafting, we could totally talk about it.
Oh, we certainly could. It's just that there's a lot of people...
But that's not what we do.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will research this even more fully. When I started looking at, like, what they have for articles about gaming's greatest unsolved mysteries, one of the good examples of this is Who Dropped the Bombs in the Fallout series. And I sat there thinking to myself, do you know how many channels do nothing except talk about Fallout lore? It's like...
Plenty. Or Skyrim lore. There are literally channels dedicated to, and 10 more things you didn't know about Skyrim.
Oh,
Every single video, the same format.
There are channels where they will take the story of one town in, like, Fallout 3, and they will discuss the history and the story of that town, and how that came about, small settlements like that. And it's like, great. I'm glad that people are doing that. But
it's really interesting and really cool that people do it. I love listening to some of that stuff.
Oh yeah, no, it's really interesting stuff because there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes when the game gets developed. It's just not something that I think we can adequately add to over what people have already done, especially when they're dedicated to it. And it's not something we really are dedicated to on the show, because we talk about a lot of other things, about design and about mechanics and what works in games and what doesn't. So it doesn't really make a ton of sense for us to talk about all of the many different ones that are out there. Out of curiosity, though, Alex, while we're on the subject here, do you have a particular mystery in gaming that you think about or that you've liked to look into yourself?
Not gaming specifically, no. My biggest gaming mystery is why do people keep putting VHS filters in games?
That's a good one, actually.
It's not. It's terrible. It's part of it's a whole aesthetic thing that I don't really care for.
The one that does keep me up at night that I do think about is like that ice key from, was it Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie? I think it might have been. There are nights that I sit, like, awake in bed thinking about that ice key, and I don't know what to do about it. Like, what does it mean?
You
Double
could just
rainbow?
Put a key in ice and see what happens.
Yeah, I'll put a key
Do
in ice.
experiments.
And see if it swirls around like it did in the game. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of gaming mysteries that I've like heard things about, and Easter egg stuff too. But I guess there's none that stick out as like pressing that I'm like, I sit there, I don't sit up at night thinking about any of these things.
Right.
Mostly because I work at night, but...
That is true. You don't actually sit up at night. You sit up during daytime hours.
Yeah. I don't really have any... I mean, maybe it's the ADHD and I just don't remember anything worth shit.
You know, they're neat to look at, and I think the problem is maybe it's just my cynicism coming through, but I have a feeling that they usually kind of boil down to either it's cut content or just content that they couldn't finish, that they had a cool idea for. It's actually like a glitch that wasn't supposed to happen. Or it's a cheeky little wink or a nod from the developers that wanted to add a little Easter egg in.
And then, of course, we do have the games that will put full-fledged, mysteries, ARG type things in there where it's... You do things in a certain order. They're Easter eggs, but maybe there's some just unfinished, unsolved Easter eggs, like the literal Easter egg in the Futurama game.
Oh, yes.
If you know about that one. That's, there was an Easter egg in a Futurama game, and players could see it was there. They could find out by breaking the game that it was there, but they could not figure out the sequence of things you had to do in the game to get that activation actually legitimately.
Yeah.
They have since found this out. It's very complex and insane what you have to do, but they have finally figured out you do this, then that, then this thing 16 times, and this other thing, and then this wall comes down and there's just an Easter egg. It's like, good job, you figured it out. It's neat. I think those things are cool. I like that developers throw nods and weird things into games like that, but yeah, there's no real giant mystery that sticks out to me. Yeah. Specifically.
I'm not going to go to Mount Chiliad, so I can't investigate.
Because you're scared of the Bigfoot.
I'm scared of the Bigfoot. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different like urban legends and myths that are wrapped up around that one. But you know, you could go down that rabbit hole really quickly. You could talk about Pokemon and like the missing no and all of like what happened there. And people do, but if we were to talk about it, I think people would be kind of disappointed because we wouldn't be going as in-depth for the segments that we typically do as most people would, hopefully, if they're posting videos about it. For the ones that do.
This is to save the listener and the viewers their clicks.
Yeah, it's like we like to have people come and watch our videos, but not if you like watch it and think, well, that was a waste of my time.
Which to be fair, most of them probably are. But
to be honest,
we're here for it. So
to be honest, we are sort of a waste of time, but we're not purposefully trying to make it a waste of time.
We could always make top 10 list videos to waste your time.
Yeah, we could do that. That should be another thing that we don't do. I'm gonna have to make another Chilsey parody. We don't want that.
There you go.
Perfect.
Link in the description.
You could go and watch that. But yeah, for anyone that's looking to watch any kind of like unsolved mysteries in games, that's a lot of fun. We're just not the people that are meant to do it. That's for people who have already gone down that rabbit hole so far that they came out the other side, you know? And good for them. But at any rate, hope you can find some nice people out there that are going to uncover those mysteries. And hey, if there is a mystery that you're looking to solve and there isn't somebody on the internet already doing it, that's a you job now. Congratulations.
I thought you were going to say, let us know, we'll look into it. And I was going to be like, you can look into it.
No.
Research is not my strong suit.
Yeah, no. That's a you thing. There's your next task. Find out. Be the investigator. Put on your detective hat.
But on a side note, if there's a mystery in gaming that you really enjoy and someone has covered really well, let us know in the comments. We'd love to check it out. Someone else might be interested as well.
Yes, absolutely. Because there's a lot that have built up over the 50 or so years that video gaming has been around, and longer for tabletop, and there's definitely a lot of ground to explore in that. So let us know in the comments down below. So number 2, Alex, we do not review games.
Yes. We are bad game reviewers, allegedly, according to one comment at one point in time, sometime. No naming names.
And there is a reason for that. We don't do game reviews on the channel.
Well, at least not in any sense of the word that is. If you're expecting someone to give you a comprehensive review of a game, a la a games journalism thing, no, 100% not.
Yeah, I'll clarify that, because what we do typically do on the show is, if we've played a game, we'll talk a little bit about it, and, we'll probably talk about something interesting that happened inside of it, usually on a tangential topic. When I talked about Midnight Acres and that I refunded it after like an hour or so, it was mostly to talk about how there were genres that weren't working together. And so those two genres, about like a farming simulation and like a tower defense game, didn't end up working for me because they're trying to do two very different things. But that's not really a review of Midnight Acres. It's not me going over like, all right, so now we're going to talk about the graphics, and we're going to talk about the sound design, and we're going to talk about the game length and the mechanics inside of the game, and now I'm going to give it a score. We've never given scores to games. We've never done like the pros and cons list you'll see at the end of like an IGN review.
No, I mean, we'll definitely, if there's a game we played, we have absolutely gone in and said, there's a couple things I like about it, there's a couple things I don't like about it, or here's something I thought was interesting, or here's something I really hated. It's more of a, this is what my experience with this game was like.
Right. The things that are really stand out to me, because, like, to be honest with you, I've played some really bad games. I've played some really good games in the past, and I might talk about them, but the fact of the matter is, I'm usually, if I'm bringing up a topic that we're going to talk about on the show, it's because of something that is in the game that I want to focus on. I have my feelings on Starfield, as I've probably explained before, but the big thing I wanted to talk about is, like, the adventure hook that you could make out of like the clones that they had in that one subplot. It's stuff like that. You're not going to find comprehensive reviews in there, because we're not good at it. I give Starfield a question mark out of 10 is what I give.
And this really goes back to even the last podcast too, when we actually did a lot of guest interviews with the tabletop designers. If you're a tabletop game designer and you're listening to the show and want to come on the show, please let us know. Or if you're a video game designer and want to come on the show, please let us know.
Also applicable.
But, we, back then, were doing interviews talking about game mechanics, game design, why they made the games the way they did, all that stuff, and it was fun. But occasionally we would get emails from people going, hey, we like your show, would you like to do a review of our game?
Yeah.
And our answer was always, no, we don't review games, but if you'd like to come on and talk about the game with us, we would love that.
Right, you want to come on to explain, like, what the game does and, like, the systems therein. That's something that we're interested in talking about. We did have a couple times even where there was one or two video game designers, I guess, that had, talked about maybe we'd like to stream their games at some point back when we did Delve, which I don't know how much you remember of that, but I remember that...
Vaguely.
Yeah, a couple people that were like, here's an alpha build of the game, and we were just wondering if you might want to... And it's like, well, first of all, we weren't doing a lot of streaming of games back then, but the other problem is that, like... in similar fashion to the tabletop games where they'd say, hey, we'll send you like a PDF copy or we'll send you a free book or something. It's like, well, that's nice. That would be nice, but we aren't game reviewers. We're just, we're really not that. We have impressions of games and there's certain things that we'll talk about inside of them and discuss, but we're not really doing a review to tell you, is it good? Is it bad? The closest thing that I'll do is, like, on Titanium Mine, which is the other show. At, like, the end of the year, I'll do the best to worst list of the games that came out that year I played. And that's just me trying my hardest to organize what I liked more than the other thing in a tier list.
Maybe you should do it in a tier list format.
Oh, a tier list. Oh, boy. Yep. Yeah. I gotta, like, pit them against each other. And
no, not like a.
Oh, I get you. No, I know what you're talking about. The SAB. Down. Yeah.
Not a bracket.
Oh, okay. You know, I'm gonna subvert expectations there. S stands for sad. It goes here.
F stands for fantastic.
And A stands for adequate. And B stands
for... We're just rearranging the letters in the tier list.
B stands for... Bleh. Anyway,
I thought B stood for Ballet in Wonderland.
So that's low on the list I'm gonna take.
Yeah,
or a masterpiece, depending on how you want to view it. But yeah, no, I'll be fine telling you that, like, I particularly liked a game or didn't like a game. Like, in the case of, like, War Tales, that it was something that surprised me because I didn't think that it would engage in the way, and trying to explain why I think it engaged in a way that I didn't expect. But those aren't really reviews, I think, the way people are looking for them.
Probably not, but that's fine.
Yeah.
People can have different formats for things. I mean, you're more comprehensive when you talk about the games anyways, because, again, I will remember the things I liked about the games and not as much the things I didn't like unless they were really egregiously bad.
Right.
So when I talk about the games, I will tell you, yeah, I played this game, I liked this, didn't like this, but I don't have, like, a lot of... I don't analyze things nearly as much, I think, as you do.
Well, yeah, when I play games, I have a tendency to, like, I'll sit back and I'll kind of be like going, first of all, is this something I'm enjoying or is this something I'm not? And then I'll start thinking, like, whether I'm enjoying it or not, do I have an interest of continuing to play it or not? And then after I get, because those are not direct correlations either. There are games where I'll say, like, oh, this is really good, but I have no interest in continuing to play it. And there'll be games where I'm kind of like going, yeah, this isn't so big, but then I end up playing it for a long time, even though it's not.
How that works.
Yeah.
Sometimes the games that you're like, this is okay, you'll end up playing forever.
Oh, yeah.
For a very long time. And then games that you're like, this is pretty good, and then you put it down and you never go back to it.
Oh, yeah, no, like this year alone, like, Starfield is a good example of the game that I played a lot, but I would say that it's probably just average in terms of, like, its overall production. And then, like, Hi-Fi Rush, I immediately was like, oh, wow, this is really nice, but I couldn't, like, after a couple hours, I personally couldn't keep playing it because it just wasn't the kind of game for me. So, it's one of those things where I'll do that, but then I'll sit down after that and kind of reflect for a moment, like, okay, if this is a good game and I didn't want to play it, why? If it's not a good game and I, didn't want to play, and I kept playing it, like, why? And, like, what is causing me to, have this feeling? And that might be something independent of the games itself that I'll talk about on the show. about like why this works or why this doesn't work, but it's not really an overview and complete review of a game where at the end we're going to go, here's our verdict and thumbs up or to the side or what. Like, we just don't do that. We don't.
And especially me, I don't sit there and reflect on games generally at all. I play games to just kind of relax 90% of the time, I think. And I know you've known over the years, I do not have as much analytical mind for that stuff. But then we can talk about mechanics, and I'll pick them apart. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is why we usually end up talking about that on the show. I think the closest thing that we really do is more an impressions sort of video, where
game impressions.
Right, where we would sit there and say, we like this game, or this was enjoyable, and if you were to ask me if you should pick it up, I'd say yes or I'd say no. I feel like if you're looking for an actual review of the game, either you're looking for a score, you're looking for a yes, a no, an up, a down, some kind of actual verdict at the end of the day, and a breakdown of like all the aspects of the game. At least when I'm looking for a game review, I want them to go into all of the different categories. I want them to look through like all of the different things that it runs and their experience with the game overall, and really.
I don't
get
typically look for game reviews because I don't generally hold them to be anything that would affect me. Because because of the way I enjoy games, I don't really get anything from a review. I go, cool, this is what they liked and didn't like.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll affect me. Usually if I go to any kind of review, it is totally ramblemedic now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like the tongue-in-cheek subversion of game reviews more than an actual game review.
We had like at one time, I think we talked about Baldur's Gate 3, you were playing that, and we were talking about specific aspects of it that we wanted to investigate and talk about why they worked and didn't work. I'll do that all day. Like, you'll see a game, you'll say something in this is really interesting that you haven't seen before, and to talk about if that works, if it doesn't work, as far as, the design decisions. Games we didn't think we'd play is probably about as close as we ever came to, like, a segment on it. And I think that's mostly to just say, hey, we didn't think we'd play these things, but here we are. So,
and we got rid of segments, but we still kind of do that anyways.
Yeah, once in a while we'll talk about a game like that. But if you're coming for game reviews, you're probably going to be sadly disappointed. Disappointment.
Sad.
Yeah. But if you do have a review of a game, or you have a reviewer that you particularly like, let us know. I don't look at them as often as I used to in general.
I just don't look at them.
Yeah,
that says a lot about my personality.
I mostly look at more the commentaries or the video essays now when it comes to video games. I had just watched, before we started recording, Daryl Talks Games talking about his backlog and how that went for the year.
Oh, yes. That is on my backlog of things to watch.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting how that
Did you ever listen to that 6-hour video from Frederick Knudsen about EVE Online?
No, I just don't know if I have the constitution, but
it'll
happen one
there's
day.
A lot of good stuff in there. There's a lot of really interesting stuff in there, I think.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there is. The closest thing I think I've ever come to like a list is right now on Titanium Mine I'm doing Spacember. And for that at the beginning I have a little checklist that I get out of like okay, so because it's all space games. So I'm like, okay, does it have spaceships you could pilot? Does it have lasers? Does it have aliens? And I'll go through the checklist just to say, yeah, it has this, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that.
There you go.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad.
No. Well,
it just has it.
Space games are a love-hate of mine.
Yes.
Kind of like colony sims and like city builders are a love-hate of mine.
Yes. Yeah. Like
different reasons.
Like Souls-likes for me.
Yeah. It's like I really enjoy a good city builder.
Sure.
But there's never any story.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Too bad that they don't. If you know of a city builder that has an actual entertaining story involved, Alex wants to know.
I do. The closest thing I can get to like a city builder with a really good story is probably Jurassic World Evolution. Or Evolution 2. Which has the stories from Jurassic Park and tells stories and it's interesting and you can have dinosaurs. But I wish they expanded on the map sizes and the ability to build more, because I would love to make like a really big park of dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
And that, again, is probably one of the only like theme park games I've seen that has an interesting story to it.
Yeah. One of my favorite things when I was playing the Jurassic Park Evolution one was where they'd be going, a dinosaur is eating one of your guests.
Yeah.
You go
Have
over,
you played the second one?
I haven't played the second one, no.
They improved it.
Oh, good. Good.
It's good. It's good.
I just love the idea of a game explaining to you that your patrons are currently getting mauled to death by a stegosaurus.
Yes.
Perfect. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a brief overview.
A review about why we don't do reviews.
Yeah, we'll just review our ability to review. It's 0 out of 10. Yeah, 0 out of 10. All the notes. Number 3, we are not a drama channel. Now,
I mean, sometimes where there's a lot of drama.
Sometimes there is a lot of drama in our own personal lives, but we then bury that right down and we move on.
Maybe your personal life. I don't deal with drama.
You don't deal with drama at all?
No.
No?
Nope.
Oh,
none.
That's fine. Push it
People
down.
go drama, and I go tell it to the llama, and then they leave.
Hide the pain, Harry. It's fine.
Drama llama.
Now, I want to clarify this, because people might have noticed that even some of our big videos on the channel is about talking about stuff that's happening in the industry around video gaming or tabletop gaming, especially when we have things like the open source stuff that was happening with potentially 1D&D or D&D 5.0, where they were going to do a different open gaming license, and they walked that back eventually. We talked, yeah. And
then what we talked about, Epic firing like 16% of its workforce.
Right, we did talk about that, and we just talked about The Escapist and Second Wind. And what happened
and
there.
the Game Awards slightly.
Right. I think that's more overviews of just like award ceremonies. The thing about it is that those things, when we start talking about like AI or loot boxes or predatory practices, the early release stuff where it never comes out of beta or anything like that, or even Star Citizen, we've talked about that a couple times as well. I think that's something worth, like, pertinent to discuss about how the industry works and what it means for customers, what it means for gamers. When I say we're not a drama channel, I mean, I don't care if somebody said something online that other people got mad about. I don't.
Most part, yeah.
I don't care if somebody went on and said, actually, I think there should be less games, and everyone's like, oh no, he says there should be less games, and then there's a whole big kerfuffle online about it. I don't care.
Probably correct, though. There should be less games.
I unironically think maybe there should be less games that are just better.
I don't have enough time to play them all, so can you make less?
Yes, exactly. Hey, you know, I am actually a firm believer. Here's my hot take for the day. My hot take is I would vastly be okay with less game releases if it meant more time for development for the games that are actually in development. So if they could, if you had like longer processes to make better games, I'm okay with less games coming out.
Anyways, drama.
And also to make sure there isn't crunch. That's the other thing. But yes, drama in terms of, like, these streamers aren't getting along and now they have a beef and now we gotta get into that. It's that kind of content. There are people that do it. I don't listen to them. I don't have any interest in it. I
don't think I do either, so it's fine.
Right. There's always going to be people that have hot takes that don't really go where they wanted it to, or get into fights with other people in the space, and that's something that they can work out. I personally don't think it's coverable content for the show, and that's the problem. If you have gaming practices, or if you have the companies that are doing something that could be a concern down the line, mergers of different companies that are coming together and what that's going to mean for the industry, those I think are pertinent things worth talking about most of the time.
Yeah. Most of the time. I've told you before, for instance, I don't really care to talk about news stuff super often because not a lot of it's really interesting to me. I'm a little apathetic about things like that. But then, for instance, with the Escapist Second Wind stuff, I immediately, when I saw it, was like, we need to talk about this because this is kind of a big thing, and we both really enjoy what they were doing on the Escapist, and what they are now doing on Second Wind.
Absolutely.
But it was like a huge thing, like 10 people just walking out of their jobs on a huge gaming media platform like that.
Yeah. It's like pertinent.
Oh, okay. And yes, we covered it late because of the way we record the show and when it comes out. So technically it wasn't ever going to be like on time for the breaking news.
Right. But, yeah. We're not breaking news. That's the other thing to be aware of.
If you're coming here for breaking news, you're a week late.
You're a week late. We'll record them and then we will break it up into segments of the week following. So we're not going to be the latest and greatest in news. And a lot of times, if there is something newsworthy, I like to talk about stuff that is not widely covered, if we can. That is tangential to games. But in terms of trying to, stir up discourse among people and discuss it, no, we got too much, we got too much going on. in our own lives, and hopefully all of you have plenty going on that we don't need to add to that. I'm sure there's some people that don't get along, and there's some people that have absolutely nuked their careers with like something that they said, and I'll let them deal with it. I don't care about it.
On the bright side, if we nuke our careers now in doing this, then it's not gonna have any recourse.
That's true. That's true.
What careers?
If you don't have a career, you don't have a career to lose. That's kind of brilliant.
Do this for fun. We don't need drama.
That's right. We certainly don't. If we become like a full-time channel or something, maybe we will just for content filler. But understand that it's basically content filler.
We'll just cause drama between us.
Yeah, we'll get a beef going. And then we gotta solve it, and people have to come to see how it resolves. The closest thing that I think we've probably done is sometimes people will tweet something out that's like a hot take, and I just want to discuss if we have a similar opinion about it.
Sure.
We've done that before, and we'll probably end up doing it again. There's a few that I do want to go over, but that's not to say that it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, or, whoa, look at what they did. Are they going to be able to I don't care. The point is, this is an interesting thing that they said. Is there any validity to that? And what can we talk about based off of that? That's pretty much it. If it doesn't really have to do with the actual inner workings of the games itself, or, about the companies that make them and how that might affect you, the consumer, I don't really consider it to be content worth us taking time to discuss.
And on the other side, you did say that sometimes there's stuff going on and it's covered by everybody.
Yes, there have been
and we have nothing to add to it.
Yes.
The whole Unity fiasco.
Yes, that's one that's worth talking about. We had discussed it a little bit on a Patreon exclusive when we went over it, but frankly, Unity was covered so much with the it was every download you'd have a certain amount of money that you'd have to pay to Unity for the download.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bad business model, but the thing...
I mean, they've walked back 90% of that, I'm pretty sure, at this point. I know they've definitely tried... They fired the, person in charge.
Can't imagine why. Yeah.
A lot of people are just going and switching from Unity, because they're like, yeah, no, bad faith, good job.
Yeah,
but, Oh, you and I both went, yeah, this is really big, but also everybody and their brother is covering this topic. We have nothing to add.
Yeah, we have nothing to add, and there's nothing that we could give you that won't be covered in the latest and greatest, and we're going to be behind the times on it anyway when we do.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like when you see like Some Ordinary Gamers and Bellular News and all these other gaming channels like talking about it, it's like, all right, well, Some Ordinary Gamers has over 1 million subs, right?
Yeah, Young is another one that like will update on a daily basis, and that's what he does. He'll do this every single day, and they'll talk about it.
There's nothing we can do to compete with a daily uploader with millions of followers. Not that we're competing. Well, for audience, sure. If you already watch one video on a thing, are you going to watch 2 or 3? Maybe, but are you going to watch one from a channel with under 1,000 subs? Not likely.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Or you might be really likely to do that because you're like, ooh, what's this random people's opinion?
Right, right.
But like...
You had said to me, like, we can cover the Unity thing if you want, but I just don't feel like we have anything to add. And I think that that's really the key is sometimes we'll talk about news items, but we want to actually discuss them because we have stuff we want to talk about. And with Unity, it was mostly like, yep, Unity made a bad decision here, and everyone's going to tell them that, and I don't think there's much else that we can say that's going to...
Yeah, all the developers, all the other channels, everybody in gaming everywhere was like, Unity, what the fuck?
Yeah, so what are we really adding to it? There's nothing for me... I had nothing else relevant to say.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was like, we can definitely talk about it if you want to.
Sure.
But why?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
We can make a footnote of it. Hey, just so you know, in case you hadn't heard, Unity shot itself in both foots at the same time.
Right. If there was someone pertinent, because we have done interviews on the show, if there was someone pertinent to that wanted to come on and talk about it, we might have somebody come on and discuss what's going on with it. But for us personally, that was just one of those cases where we just really didn't have anything to add, and I believe the content in the end hopefully should be value added. I don't know if we necessarily do that with every video, but it is the intent is to do something that's different. There's stuff that I think is superficial and stuff that is more substantial. If it's substantial, it's probably worth talking about. If it's superficial in fighting and drama, it doesn't really matter to me, and I don't know why it would matter to you for that.
Some people thrive on drama.
Some people do thrive on drama.
And if you are here looking for that drama, we are sorry. We cannot deliver.
We cannot deliver. Look, sometimes criticism is definitely warranted. I've known some people that ended up, dealing with folks that were not good. I can tell you that. But it's not something... Yeah, we already know a few of them. Anyway, the point is, I've had interactions with them, and like I'll be more than supportive for them, but it's not something that we really discuss on the show. Somebody out there has a problem with us, and I don't know who it is.
It's fine, as long as they keep their mouths shut. I don't care.
Our mirror universe selves are coming back. But see, they actually don't have the mustaches. They're evil because they don't have the mustaches and the beards.
Fair.
Yeah. Hey.
See, my mirror is bald up top and no beard.
Oh, you're just hairless.
Yours is full head of hair and beard.
Yeah, exactly.
You just palette swap.
You know what mine is going to be? The beard is on my eyebrows.
Ooh.
Beard brows.
No. Dislike. Anyways.
If there is something that you think is pertinent that you might like us to talk about, leave your suggestions in the comments down below for things that we might actually want to talk about now that you know the kind of things that we don't typically talk about on here. That'd be great. We're always looking for something interesting to discuss on the show because we do 3 topics a week. We gotta keep stuff out there.
Or come over here and start some beef with us, and we'll just devote a segment to telling you it'll be a diss track.
We're going to release a special podcast. It's called Diss Track, where we call it out.
It'll be me cooking beef on the stove.
Yeah. we're going to subvert expectations yet again. It's going to be you giving recipes for your perfect hamburger. Thank you for coming.
I'm not doing it right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm not giving you that recipe now. You gotta pay for that.
Yeah, that's premium content. That's for the Patreon. This has been 100 episodes.
100.
We're working backwards, it feels like.
Technically, this would be like, if we did seasons of the show, this would be
start like season 3?
The start of season 3, technically, because there's like 52 weeks.
Yeah,
52 weeks in a year?
With a few breaks in there, but yes,
few breaks.
This would be essentially the start of season 3. I think it was September or October of 21 that we actually started. So yeah,
so we're a couple weeks off, but it's fine.
It's okay. It's good.
Episode 104 would be the end of season 2, technically.
Sure.
Or we could just do them in batches of 100 and say season 2, 100 episodes more. But that's another 2 years.
You know what we do is we just say that there's 50 episodes in a season for us.
Yeah.
There's just like 50 episodes in a season. So we figure that we're going to burn a couple weeks here somewhere.
Yeah, now we just need to figure out our seasonal content, like all these games with seasons passes.
Oh my god. That would be amazing.
We gotta rename our Patreon tiers to Seasons Pass.
That's a good idea.
In a way.
Oh my god, season 1, season 2, season every day. That would be great. Every day I'm seasoning. That's the beef channel.
There you go.
For your recipes. Anyway, Alex, if folks could find out what we actually do on the show, where could they find all of that?
If you want to find content that is not this 100th episode, but is stuff we normally do talk about, like games and design and mechanics and impressions or critiques of games or tabletop sometimes too, which we probably need to do more of, but that's fine. We're playing more games than tabletop games these days, I think.
Yes.
You can find out everything we do over at totalpebbleknockdown.com.
Yes, we do want to talk more about tabletop games. Problem is that we haven't been able to play them very much. Sorry, folks. Wish that weren't the case, but here we are. While you are over on our website, check out our Patreon banner. You can find early releases of our episodes, and you can also find some bonus features, some of the stuff that we talk about behind the scenes. Some of it might be a little bit spicier. You never know. You can also check out some of the other stuff that we have on the website. We have Titanium Mines. As I said, we're doing Spacember this month, where I'm going to be going over, it should be 5 different titles for every Saturday. So check that out. And of course, you can still find creatures over there as well.
There's another one in the works.
Ooh. Hot exclusive. Nice.
Just lots of other things going on. So
those are time intensive, let me tell you.
Yes, they really are.
They really are. So we can't do many of them every year. Or Crave can't do too many of them a year. It's just a lot of work. And hey, while you are checking us out online, we can still be found on every podcast app that you could possibly imagine. Just check us out over there on Total Pebble Knockdown. Make sure to write reviews, subscribe, all the things. Do the things.
If it can be reviewed, do it. If it can't be reviewed, go sub to us on YouTube so we get some more subscribers.
That's right. We might not do reviews here, but we do appreciate reviews for our content. That's always good. Yeah.
Testimonials. When did YouTube testimonials go away?
I don't know.
Shake my head.
So somewhere. Testify. Anyway, you can also find us on the endless wasteland that is social media these days. I am at Titanium.
I am at EXP Limited, and the show is still at Pebble Knockdown.
So you can check us out over on all of those places. Whatever they're called now, seems like they keep changing their names all the time. Twitter is X, Facebook is Meta. I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. I'm so confused.
I don't like any of it.
Yeah, and you know what? Less and less seem to every day.
Yeah. Join our Discord. It's way better.
Yeah, we have a public Discord. You can also check us out over there if you have any questions that you want to ask us that's not on the YouTube stuff. And with that, I think we're ready to move on to episode 101, where we'll talk about stuff we actually, I guess, do talk about on the show.
Yeah, what should 101 be? 101, that's like a school number. Should we do the school of something?
101, we got school people on stuff.
Classroom 101?
That would be something.
It seems like a school number. 404 would be better, because then we could just not do an episode.
Yeah, episode 404, we're setting this up right now. If we have episode 404 of the show, it is literally just going to be like a 10-second thing that's error 404, file not found, and that's the end.
Ooh, we can do it like our April Fool's episode. It'll be a little like 10-second thing, like episode 404 not found, but I'll go into the thing with the spectrogram and make sure there's a link to the real episode in there.
Oh, that would be good. That'd be good. We can do.
And now anyone who listened to episode 100 will know about that way ahead of time.
Yeah, there you go. That's something. But you have to listen to the whole thing, because this is at the very, very end. So this is just a little thing for you. If we reach episode 404, now you know. But at any rate, until we get to that point, and the Easter egg we set up 303 episodes ahead of time, or 304 episodes
303 episodes away from now.
Yeah. we're gonna have something really fun for you. I
just had the goodest of boys come in through the room, but he didn't want to say hi on camera.
Oh, shoot. Well, maybe next time. We'll catch him next time.
Yep.
Until next time, though, folks, from the goodest of boys over here, thank you for watching Total Pebble Knockdown, and we will see you on the next one. Bye now.
Bye.